Hello and welcome to my channel. I am going to expose this Islamophobe once again. Today I am going to expose this video of him. So let's see his claims. For at least 10 minutes he didn't make any claims and showed his stupid animation which is full of nonsense. Let's fast forward and look at his main claims.
The Temple Beit al-Maqdis, or the Second Temple of Jerusalem, had been torn down in 70 CE or over 500 years before their claims of personal visits to it. On top of that, there was no mosque ever built in Jerusalem at that time. Al-Aqsa Mosque in Jerusalem was built on 691 AD, or 59 years after Prophet Muhammad died. Therefore, that is not the mosque the Prophet mentioned in Quran, Surah Al-Isra, verse 1. So, what temple exactly did he visit, enter, and pray, before ascending to heaven?
He says that the Quran mentions Masjid Al-Aqsa when that mosque didn't exist at that time. This is a misunderstanding of the verse. Let's have a look at the verse first. The verse is basically saying that Prophet visited from inviolable house of worship to remote house of worship. Now the Arabic of inviolable house of worship is Al-Masjid Al-Haram and the Arabic of remote house of worship is Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. Aqsa simply means remote, it is not name of a mosque. So, the verse is not talking about name of any building, but a place which is remote from Mecca. There are other verses of Quran where the word Aqsa is used. None of these verses are talking about Al-Aqsa Mosque. Here, Aqsa means furthest. By the way, don't think that it is talking about the Medina city where Prophet Muhammad lived. Medina in Arabic simply means city. Prophet Moses didn't live in Medina city. In Arabic, mosque or masjid doesn't mean a building, but a place. For example, this is a school. And this is also a school under tree in India. As the term school doesn't mean a building but a place where education is provided, in Arabic mosque means a place of worship, not a building. So no matter when and who built the construction, the definition of mosque remains same. And if you look closely, the Kaaba at Mecca is mentioned as Masjid al-Haram in the quoted verse, it is still known by this name. But when this verse was revealed, the Mecca wasn't yet conquered and Kaaba was a pagan temple. Then why God mentioned this place as a place of worship of Allah? Because God was talking about the origin, not the contemporary situation. According to the Muslim tradition, both places were originally built by prophets of Islam, Solomon and Abraham, to worship Allah. Masjid al-Aqsa just means a farthest place of worship. Later, when Muslims conquered Jerusalem, they gave this name to the mosque. Even if we look at the description of this video, he writes Beit al-Maqdis but then refers to Masjid al-Aqsa. This shows how ignorant he is. Beit al-Maqdis or the Temple Mount is not the whole of Masjid al-Aqsa, it's only a certain place where the Prophet Muhammad peace be upon him visited on that night and lead a prayer of the prophets in their homeland. So this is completely a dumb thing to claim that this was referring to the building built way after.
Since the building never existed, we know that both Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr lied when they described how the Beit al-Maqdis looked like. Since the Al-Isra is incorrect, then there is no Al-Miraj. The entire story is fabricated. Both Quran and Ahadith are wrong about this historical event, and they both cannot be trusted as a reliable information on the life of Muhammad and the first Muslims. It is possible that the Muslim leaders inserted Surah Al-Isra, verse 1, in the Quran, after they built the Al-Aqsa Mosque. Those Muslims unashamedly and deceitfully added stories to the Quranic text and passed them off as revelation from God. The story of Isra Miraj explains that the reason Muslims pray 5 times a day is because Muhammad claimed to have taken a ride on a flying animal. Because this story is proven not right, we know that this is not the case. The real reason Muslims pray 5 times a day and perform ablution is likely because Muhammad was deeply involved in the Sabians occult, by way of 4 of his relatives. The Sabian cult apparently had so much influence over Muhammad's daily life, that some in his own tribe referred to him as the Sabian. In the Quran, Muhammad lists the Sabians, right alongside the Christians and Jews. The Sabians prayed 5 times a day and performed ablution. Muhammad just copied his previous religious ritual and pasted it into his new religion Islam. In Sirah al-Nabawiyya, Ibn Hisham wrote that the Hanafa, or Anaf, was a small group started when 4 Sabians at Mecca agreed. Those 4 were Zayd bin Amr bin Nafil, Waraka bin Nafil, Ubaidullah bin Yash, and Uthman bin al-Huwarith. The 4 Sabians were all related to Muhammad. Waraka bin Nafil and Uthman bin al-Huwarith were cousins of Khadijah. Ubaidullah bin Yash was a maternal cousin to Muhammad. Muhammad married his widow, Habiba. All this reveals the close connection between Muhammad and the prominent Sabians.
This is a complete lie. They were not the Sabians, they were the monotheists or Hanafas who separated themselves from the paganism of the people of Mecca. Now note this, that there is a huge difference between Sabians and the monotheists. Although Sabians said that God is one, they also used to worship celestial bodies, fire trees, etc. So they are not Sabians. And I don't know when and where did Ibn Hisham call them Sabians. He is claiming that Ibn Hisham said so, but he didn't give any reference to it. And also all 4 of them were not the relatives of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. Only Waraka was a relative of the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him. He was an Ebianite and not a Sabian. For those who don't know who the Ebianites are, they are an early sect that existed in the beginning of 1st century, even before the Christians, and they believed that Jesus was the prophet of Allah. Sounds familiar, right? Although they believed that Jesus was the prophet and Messiah, but they believed that he was crucified and rejected his miraculous birth. But they believed that he was nothing more than a prophet of Allah. Now the Islamophobes will say that Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, learned from Waraka. Go on, make your claims that Waraka bin Nawfal was the teacher of the Prophet. But this claim has absolutely zero evidence and is completely a fiction. For just to criticize Islam, he made all the 4 Hanafa Sabians and made them the relative of the Prophet. What a liar this man is. The Sabians didn't follow a particular religion. They used practice any one particular practice from any religion which they liked. For example, the practice of ablution, they got this from the Jews because they also perform ablution before offering prayer. As we know, multiple nations of multiple prophets had same practices, for example, to perform ablution before praying. Every nation was given a particular number of prayers every day. So if the Sabians prayed 5 times, they got this from watching other religions, because Sabians did not make anything on their own, they used to follow the practices of other religions. It's like a mixture of all religions. And if Prophet Muhammad did really copy anything, then I demand from them a clear proofs when and where did he copy them. These Islamophobes make claims from their own thoughts and say this is the truth, with actually zero proofs. Literally, these people are living in a fairy tale life all the time, and their default topic is Islam. Anyways, let's look at his next claim.
The story of bargaining the number of prayers from 50 to 5 has clearly taken from Genesis 18, verse 23 to 32. In that chapter, God revealed his plan to destroy Sodom and Gomorrah due to the wickedness of those cities. Abraham asked God to spare the people.
Suppose there are 50 righteous within the city. Will you then sweep away the place and not spare it for the 50 righteous who are in it?
If I find at Sodom 50 righteous in the city, I will spare the whole place for their sake.
The bargain continued until verse 32.
Oh, let not the Lord be angry, and I will speak again but this once. Suppose 10 are found there?
For the sake of 10 I will not destroy it.
You see this bargaining process in the book of Genesis, from 50 to 10 righteous people, is very similar with the bargaining process in the Bukhari hadith from 50 to 5 prayers. It is obvious that story from Bukhari was taken from Genesis 18, verse 23 to 32. Since there's not a single piece of historical evidence that supports the event of Isra Miraj, the story of Prophet Muhammad and his flying burak is nothing but a mere fantasy, just like the story of Aladdin and his magic lamp, or Ali Baba and his magic flying carpet.
Now this is also a complete lie. Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, could not copy this from Genesis because the Bible was not translated into Arabic until 9th century, although there is no evidence that it was translated in Arabic in 9th century. Most concluded it was done way more after that. Because for every hadith we have a complete chain of narrators. Bukhari could not copy this from the Bible, and also Imam Bukhari lived in the 8th century. Now some Islamophobes will say that Waraka bin Nawfal used to translate the Bible, so he probably learned from there. They would refer to this hadith in Sahih al-Bukhari volume 1 book 1 and hadith number 3. First thing is that he never translated the Old Testament. The Old Testament was not even present in the form it's present today, like a complete compilation. The Arab, Christian and Jews used to have some parts of it. But Waraka bin Nawfal didn't translate the Old Testament, he translated the Gospel of Ebionites, which was not the Gospel of Christians, and also he used to write his translation in Hebrew letters, not in Arabic letters. So if anyone had to understand it, he first needs to learn Hebrew language. Without learning them he would know nothing, and also this was like his personal notes, he didn't share that with anyone. Sometimes when Christians want to criticize Islam they talk like atheists. He literally demands an evidence for Isra al-Miraj. If I ask him an evidence for a Jacob wrestling with an angel, or an evidence for Moses' road turning into a serpent, etc. We both believe in miracles, then asking evidence for a one is completely dumb because you too believe in miracles, so don't pretend like atheists. Anyways, hope you enjoyed today's video and got some knowledge from it. Do consider subscribing to my channel. More response videos are coming up inshallah, so stay tuned. I will meet you in the next video. Until then. Assalamualaikum.
مولاي صل وسلم دائما أبدا على حبيبك خير الخلق كلهم. مولاي صل وسلم دائما